because the left media, the left mainstream media has so little credibility, you being on our side makes us look guilty. Makes us look guilty. We need people who do not have Trump derangement syndrome or whatever else you want to call it. Let them, what's the name, the facts. In fact, let's have Candace Owens look into this thing. Yeah. Can we have Candace Owens? I want to know. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the On the Country podcast.
Am I allowed to swear in here?
In Sweden.
Yeah, I know we said let's not blame the government.
It's just sad when we start them becoming indoctrinated. Your view on me.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the On the Country podcast with Emilio, Tobias. Hey man, sorry about yesterday's video. I was out of town and the weather was different. That's why I sounded so bad and that's why I was busy in my nose the whole time. But I have another video and I'm a lot clearer and a lot more, succinct and to the point and tell you what I'm trying to say. Ne? Okay, there it starts now. My glasses aren't completely clean. Okay, here we go. I am glad that the story about the genocide in South Africa, about Trump coming to the rescue for white South Africans and all of this, I'm glad that it's finally in the media and it's getting flushed out, because it was big in South Africa in Feb and maybe March as well. Very big, took over all the platforms in South Africa, but no one in America spoke about it. We're happy that it's news now in America, but might I just say, I don't think South Africans want the liberal, left, democratic media people should be the ones defending South Africa. I think on this one, we're on the same page that there's a mistake, that there is no genocide in South Africa, and thank you for articulating that. But because the left media, the left mainstream media has so little credibility, you being on our side makes us look guilty. Makes us look guilty. We need people who do not have Trump derangement syndrome or whatever else you want to call it. Let them, what's the name, the facts. In fact, let's have Candace Owens look into this thing. Yeah. Can we have Candace Owens? I want to know, because I've seen Tucker Carlson has been talking about it. This week I saw Megyn Kelly speak about it, but she's also so misinformed and has nitpicked facts. I don't think it's her nitpicking the facts. It's what the lobby groups have been able to push forward and leave out all the context about all these facts. So even someone like Megyn Kelly, who's respected, I think, both in the left doesn't respect him more, but it is a respected media person who's someone I listen to and get a lot of my news from. I think she just has plain facts, some facts missing, and definitely no context as a base. But I understand, let me say, I understand, and South Africans understand why this looks so bad at face value, why it seems like Afrikaners are being persecuted and targeted for their race. I'm going to touch on, seeing that you guys went here in February, I'm going to touch on how this thing has got to be here and why Trump particularly has paid attention to this thing. This thing started in February. We must remember, a big thing of this thing is Elon Musk. Elon Musk was still big in the White House when Trump made these things. And I believe, because Elon Musk left in the 90s, just at the beginning of when it started to be clear that apartheid was coming to an end, white people were feeling that once black people take over or once apartheid was over, they would not be able to control them and it would be bad for everyone. And how they feel things are now, they felt like that since the announcement that Nelson Mandela was going to be released. A lot of white people left South Africa, America, Australia, England, wherever else. They left because they felt they could not survive in a black country, and they felt that black people would turn on them and eat them and steal their land and murder them. All these things that they are saying now, they felt that it would happen in 1989. Elon Musk is of the group of white people that left South Africa, had no faith or hope that there would be a peaceful transition. All the naysayers, and I guess even history tells us that when a revolution is over and injustice that you fought for finally comes to be a reality, it's normally followed by civil war. So they were running away from all those things. So Elon Musk, since he left, has that idea of South Africa. Since Elon Musk left, he's had this idea of South Africa. So if Donald Trump asks Elon Musk, yo man, there's these guys making a noise about farm murders and genocide and all these things. Tell me, what is going on? So if you're going to hear it from Elon Musk, remember, Donald Trump trusts Elon Musk's opinion. Donald Trump is loyal. We've heard Donald Trump's a very loyal person, especially if you've been loyal to him. So Elon Musk, my man, tell me what I must do. I'm the president, tell me what I must do. Elon Musk says, hey man, if you do a refugee program, because, yo man, from the stories I'm hearing, there's not going to be any white people left in a few years based on all the murders. Now, I think that's one reason why Trump is taking particular interest in the Afrikaner situation in South Africa. Now, let's speak about other things now. Farm murders / genocide. Now, all of these people that have been pushing the genocide narrative, let's just say they've backed away from calling it a genocide. Now they're going into a genocide as a spectrum, which I guess it is according to the UN. They've gone into genocide as a spectrum and no longer genocide as a yes or no. The jokes you've been seeing about how fat those people were in the queue to go to America is because white people are still doing very well. Let's talk about farm murders. No one said farm murders aren't a thing or that no one is being killed on farms. But the thing that they don't want to tell you to bring that whole thing into perspective. Let's say, how many farm murders are there? Let's say there are 10. 10 is the full number. We're using a scale. How many out of 10 murders, how many of those are white people being murdered? Because it's not only white people being murdered. And farm murders, the reason why the government can't say, give a special designation to farm murders, because farm murders are in rural areas and they are small towns. These farms are surrounding small towns or small rural villages. So if it's difficult to distinguish between a rural murder and a farm murder. Because now, if you had to count black people and farm workers who are being killed on farms as well, sometimes by farm owners, it drops that number from 10. How many of the farmers that are killed are white? Then, how many of the farmers that are killed are being killed by black people? Whether it's just actual criminals who want to break in and steal whatever, or whether it's previous employees, because that's another thing they don't tell you. Some of these murders are done by sometimes farm workers who have been ill-treated over years by farmers. A small amount of that 10. There's also a lot of stories coming out about farmers' wives arranging for the killing of their husbands for insurance money. That also happens. It's a small chunk of that, but it's context. A small chunk of that are women who are arranging for it to look like a targeted political murder, and then they get insurance money from their husbands or family being murdered. There's a couple of those in court right now, and there's been a few over the years. So no one is saying there are no murders on farms. Must also remember, farmers and the families are normally the richest people for across a whole span of kilometers. Unlike in America, rural does not mean poor in America. There's a lot of rural areas like the farmlands in Ohio, farmlands in Kansas. Doesn't mean if you're in a rural area, you're poor. However, in South Africa, when you're in a rural area, you almost definitely are poor. The richest person there is the farmer. So, opportunistic criminals would obviously go and try there first with kidnapping, murder, asking for ransom, all those things. That's why those guys are being targeted there. There's the story of Kill the Boer. A lot of South Africans do feel that the song should not be sang. Should not be sang. There's no place for it in today's society. It has historical significance, but in the goal of us moving forward as a country, South Africa, we don't think it should be sung. Now, this lobby group has been asked, the phrase of the song being protected by the law is that the Afrikaners were asked to prove in court, the Afrikaner lobby group were asked to prove in court and show any link between any farm murder being linked to Shoot the Boer being sung. Now, you would say that they'd show pictures of murderers writing Kill the Boer on the walls in the houses after these terrible, horrific murders. But one of the women now, who has been caught plotting her husband's murder, had arranged for the criminals or the hitmen to write that on the cars and in the house after they murdered. So please make it look like this murder was inspired by the EFF or inspired by the song. Now, don't jump and be and wara wara. A lot of people, most people believe that the song should not be sang. However, a lot of people do believe that the song is not intended to be taken literally. Now, all these guys who want to be refugees in America or hate South Africa so much because there's a lack of opportunities. Now, they speak about 142 race laws and that being the reason for some white people not being able to get a job. That might be true, but that number is extremely small. White people as a whole are still a lot richer than the rest of everyone else put together. So these 142 race-based laws, which are just counter laws to redress some of the effects of apartheid, because a lot of black people who were victims of apartheid are still poor because of that. A lot of white people are still rich because of that. And it's not punitive. These measures aren't punitive to the white people who are able to gain. They are not there to punish them, but they are there because because of tribalism, let's say tribalism, let's not say racism. Because of tribalism, if there's too many of one group of people in a company, the likelihood of them hiring someone that doesn't look like them or who doesn't have the same background as them is very, very unlikely. That's why you might want to mandate some industries to have a bigger black representation. Black people make up at least 80% of South Africa. but probably make up 20% of the employment. Now, those race-based laws are not punitive. And if one white guy loses out the job to a black guy, it does not mean also that the black guy automatically was not more qualified or more warranted to have the job than him. So now you have 5 white people who are aggrieved at equality or redress. You are aggrieved at equality and redress. So now you feel like you are in a Holocaust now. You feel like there's a genocide. No one is denying farm murders. We're just saying farm murders are not a unique type of murder. White people are not the people being murdered the most. We are all victims. Any one of us can be murdered at any time. That's the issue, and we do blame the government for that. But don't come and elevate your victimhood above others. Let's all try to solve this thing together. You don't speak out like this about other high amounts of murders in South Africa. Women are being murdered at an unprecedented rate. You are not saying anything about that. So, why is this such a big issue, and why are we moving now? I even want to blame the left, democratic, progressive, whatever media for some of what's going on here. Because of how they've lied over the past 8 years, because of their obsession and hate for Donald Trump, the American left media has lost all credibility. So now, if any of them has to speak about this thing, it sounds like they are lying because they have no credibility. I saw a clip from Anderson Cooper, who I believe, if you guys there in America want to watch anyone speak about this thing, I saw Anderson Cooper. So just check out Anderson Cooper speaking about the whole thing. There's the thing about property confiscation. Let me just say, no single property has been confiscated from any single person at this point. The new law that they are referring to is a law that allows for the government. America has these laws, most countries have these laws that allows for the expropriation of land with fair or no compensation. The no compensation is elaborated on and spoken about as to what are the circumstances where no compensation would be a fair compensation. And none of these white people with farms or with properties and houses are in any danger of having their property confiscated. The law most likely will be used for abandoned buildings in the inner cities that have been hijacked by criminal gangs and whatever. So where buildings have been abandoned and left derelict and people have moved in, vagrants are living there, people are charging rent who should not be, those are the type of buildings that the government are most likely to go after to expropriate, break down and build low-cost housing or allow for the development of that area or that space. So this thing of white people thinking this, that and the other, it's just lobby groups convincing their constituencies that they are in danger. They've been speaking about this danger for the past 30 years and yet they are still here. The president, who a lot of us aren't even fans of, made a very good point. Out of all the democratic dispensations that have, or after all the revolutions have ended in Africa, South Africa is the only ones that never chased whites away. Now, the point of my video, which wasn't clear maybe, the point of my previous video is that we, as South Africans who know what's really going on here, are quite happy for the ones who are opting and choosing to leave. You clearly hate us enough to leave. Like, this is not even about preserving your culture, because now you're asked to go and assimilate there. You are asked to go and assimilate in America, and you haven't been able to assimilate to a democratic South Africa in 30 years. How long is it going to take you to assimilate in America where you have no inherent power? Here your issue is you cannot speak to black people like you want anymore. You cannot disrespect and speak down on black people anymore. I wish you all the luck, and I'm very happy for you to be moving, and I hope you find joy and peace there. It's not nice to have people here who feel that they cannot be around the rest of us. We would love for you to go where you feel more comfortable. And I don't think it's a law that their citizenship will be automatically taken away. No. But I challenge you. Go in full force. Once you've relocated and you're a refugee, please, optionally on your side, recuse your or disown your South African citizenship. Tell them you don't want to be South African anymore. You are done. And then we leave it at that. The rest of us, good, white, black folks, will stay here and continue to work towards a better South Africa. Things aren't perfect, but it's definitely not what you are saying. And this is your ability to be able to make everything about you. So please do us the favor. You're not being chased away. You are just very welcome in America. I don't know if that made more sense, but this is going to be a good few weeks of us talking about these, because I feel like there are other batches of South Africans that are going to be designated refugees. There are other batches coming, so this is going to be in the news for a while. But please, Fox, NBC, not Fox, MSNBC, CNN, please, man, don't speak for us. We'll speak for ourselves. We don't want anyone who hates Trump to talk to him about it. There's not opportunity to hate Trump. We will never change his mind like that. And a lot of South Africans are, if not fans of Trump, they at least get him and don't have an irrational fear or hate towards him. So he did get this one wrong, because the people in his ear are wrong. But Elon Musk, AfriForum, we believe those are the guys that have convinced him to do this. But the leadership will meet soon. I don't know if it's the president of South Africa will meet with Trump soon, but definitely the ambassador's office. But otherwise, yeah, man. Let's carry on talking about this. Please leave comments. Let's not be rude. Let's respect one another. Please subscribe, like, comment, do all the things. Thank you. Bye.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the On the Turn podcast.
Am I allowed to swear there?
In Sweden.
Yeah, I know we said let's not blame the government.
It's just sad when we start them
No, but-
becoming indoctrinated. Your view on me.